Walk us through the lifestyle, the good, the bad, the painful.
If you think that you're having a difficult time keeping up with your instructor that is an adjunct, chances are they're probably having the same issue that you're having, but without a proper desk to cry at. We would be really lucky to have you, but why are you interested in teaching? And I'm like, because I need a job.
What do you do? Like, what's your job?
What day is it? I am an adjunct instructor of English, currently critical reading composition and intro to creative writing at the University of South Carolina. I graduated from there in 2015. I'm teaching as alumni faculty in my old scholars program through student support services, which we collectively know at the university and throughout South Carolina's TRIO services or TRIO programs. My specific academic department was the Opportunity Scholars Program, which was an initiative for first generation college students who technically qualify for a Pell Grant, which is to say for smart poor kids who had never been able to get to college. I teach there now English 101 for about, I want to say 48, maybe 50 students right now. And I also teach intro to creative writing to about 20 students. One of my former English instructors emailed me and said that there were openings for the first year English program at the University of South Carolina. And they asked if they knew anyone to forward the email to them. She forwards me the email. I see it. I'm like, okay. I quickly gather my resume or CV and some references that feel recent, and I send over the director my cover letter and all that. I don't think about it too hard, and I kind of just let it go. It was like a Friday afternoon. That next like Monday, like top of the morning, like, oh my God, I've seen your, like, hi, my name is such and such from this department. He no longer works there. And he's like, I've seen your CV. It looks like you've done a lot. It looks like you've also been publishing a lot. Why are you interested in teaching? We would be really lucky to have you, but why are you interested in teaching? And I'm like, because I need a job. And and I do love teaching. It is a tough thing. I think over this semester, or at least my first semester, I'm like, I have taught in weird capacities before. And I would say weird because it's been a long time. I was a math tutor for my last 3 years of high school. In college, I was they called it a supplemental instruction leader. But essentially it's kind of like a tutor with some special privileges for business calculus. And so between that, I was also teaching music as director of my gospel choir at college. I was attempting to do some other things. It's been a lot of community teaching, formally teaching English to children, or to young adults that are closer to my brothers and younger cousins' ages and whatnot. It felt like, I'm like, wow, am I that old? Is this what we looked like when we were doing this? Did I know none of this when I got here? You go in with all of these expectations, then you talk to your students, they're like, hi, we're just here for syllabus day. Do we need to actually buy this book? Is this writing going to be difficult? And it's like, no. Perhaps you need to spend that money on that book if you're not going to read it. And that's only for me being a bit petty currently, because it's why are you literally asking me if you're going to buy a book if you're not going to read this, baby? This makes no sense to us. Just to say, I've gotten really, really familiar with the university system again, and I was not mentally prepared to be back amongst that so quickly, but I think mostly it was just the shock of being on somebody's campus so soon again.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been beautiful, but it's been definitely like making me feel like I'm like in a, I don't know, a sitcom version of my life. I started watching Abbott Elementary about like a month before got the opportunity to like send in anything for this gig, and I'm like, you know what, I might want to be a teacher. That seems like it might be, impactful. 2 months later, I just wish I could get 5 minutes to finish this lesson plan without people emailing me.
So like if someone has never adjuncted before,
Yep.
obviously adjuncting has a reputation.
Yes.
Walk us through the lifestyle, the good, the bad, the painful.
If you have ever felt any type of way bad about public school teachers and the amount of work that they have, I cannot say it's comparable completely, but it can give you an inkling to like what an adjunct might have to deal with. People think because you are an instructor that it's like, I won't say it's glamorous, because in part to the right person it can be very much so, appears much. It gets tough. It gets tough to think about the possibilities of like what you're going to like share with your students to possibly like teach them things that could be really useful. You have to be careful about how much you think you can actually teach in real time. Like my classes generally are like 50 to 70 minutes. That's not a lot of time, regardless of how much it sounds like a lot of time. We only do maybe 2 or 3 poems in my creative writing workshop right now. We're in the poetry unit. And it's mostly because we have to have time to think and talk and closely read and converse, analyze, synthesize, all those other things. But for the average adjunct, I do know most of us do not really even have a general office. Or at least I don't know many folks in my department who have an office that is not shared with at least 3 other folks that might be graduate students or other adjuncts. We are essentially like freelance teachers, or to put it more immediately, like free agent professors. Like I'm only partially signed here. Like if I were to take my like talents elsewhere, I would technically do that, but it's kind of like that. You're like a free agent teacher. There's nobody that says like, hey, you kind of got to be here like indefinitely. You sign up for the amount of hours that you feel like you can teach. Some people try to get more experience to kind of help build their resumes and get other opportunities. A lot of intro classes are usually taught by adjuncts or graduate students.
Right.
University systems can get to be difficult when discussing things like pay, especially for, I guess, for writers specifically, like for the M.F.A. Some people do not necessarily consider that a terminal degree, even though classically, for whatever that word means, it is considered as such, which in some cases means you could technically get paid as much as like someone with a doctorate. In other cases, you can only get paid as much as a master's. It just depends on the circumstances, and you got to be very clear about what you will and won't take. Many adjuncts are teaching minimum 2 to maybe 4 classes. That's a lot of classes. If it's different days, that's the same content for different time schedules, which is a different class. I know some folks that taught Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then just Wednesday. Same class, 3 different ways is 3 different classes. If you think that you're having a difficult time keeping up with your instructor that is an adjunct, chances are they're probably having the same issue that you're having, but without a proper desk to cry at. That's like in their actual department. Like it's that type of thing.
It's like, oh my gosh.
We're like Like some of the adjuncts I know are some of like the smartest, most brilliant folks around, but it's tough. It is tough.
What are your projections for like tenure and things like that? I mean,
I have not really thought about that far yet, and I think in part I'm
maybe
still
that's
trying to
good.
figure. I think in part, I think in part I'm still trying to get like my feel for how long I feel like I can do it throughout the day, and like if I want to still do it specifically with English through like the critical reading composition or writing comp, or if I want to like lean more into creative writing. I think I like creative writing a little bit more, but it's kind of tough to teach that without options, access, honestly, student popularity, and honestly just funding often. But I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. I feel like I relate to like the entire cast of Abbott Elementary in the oddest of ways. If there ever is a spinoff about the community college that like is up the street from that elementary school, I want to be on it. I think it's a beautiful opportunity. It can be jarring. It can be jarring. Like if you think about the last time that you were a student, how did you treat the person that was teaching you?
why
Think about
you got to be like that? Why you got to be like
because like I realized that like even doing well in school, I was not necessarily the best type of student. And like recognizing the type of student that I was by teaching students that are like similar to me, I'm like, oh, I was giving my teachers hell quietly. Did not know it. Like, oh, Willie, are you okay? Yeah, I'm reading ahead. Like, why are you reading ahead? Because girl, I finished this 3 weeks ago. You're like, have you finished this project? Yeah, here it is. I could not produce a draft beforehand, but here we are with the final draft now. My own personal brand of chaos as a as a young academic and whatnot. I say every now and then gets like handed back to me a little bit.
Having been a director of teachers too, it works that way as well. Like it's like from the student to teacher. When you're a teacher, you understand what students do, but then when you're a manager of teachers, it's the same exact. Teachers are no different than students. It's like, oh my god, it's the same. It just cycles through.
It's like you think of all the things that you've like possibly made a teacher mad at, and it's like, yeah, I probably deserve to be yelled at.
Have any one instance in your scholastic career that you're like, man, I really wish I could have took that back?
Ooh, a few, but like nothing big. They're like some just petty things, I think, like more than anything. I think I wish I had like joined a choral program younger when I was in like middle school, just for like the experience and to like be able to learn music formally, which is weird to be like a musician now and be able to keep up, but still like have a curiosity of like greater bits of theory. From the regret space, I regret literally not. I regret not sleeping more, if I tell the truth.
Yesterday or like in life or like
Yeah, you know, I think like at certain point, like in your late 20s, early 30s, you kind of reach a point where tiredness just doesn't go away. And so you're just kind of like, I'm less tired today, but I'm still a little tired. Like, could I take a nap? Yeah, I could take a nap.
Yeah.
Oh
Once you have kids, it's
listen,